Terrific session on a topic that so many people are asking us about. We got some good questions that came in, so we're going to want to address them. Some of them are answered in the window, but we want to get a chance to address them live as well. So, let me start with the first one here. DDoS attacks and eavesdropping and viruses are real security issues when deploying VoIP. How can I secure my deployment without impacting call quality? So, Kevin, you want to address that for us?
Sure, I put it in text in the window as well. But when you look at VoIP infrastructure and when you're on-prem, the session border controllers really come to mind, right? They're there for not only brokering the sessions, but also as a voice firewall, right, to prevent those DDoS attacks and to help further secure that infrastructure. When you look at Office 365 and Skype for Business in the cloud, that's up to us. We've got that infrastructure built out to be able to prevent those types of attacks.
Great. So I want to encourage everybody to add whatever questions and answers they might have. There's the Q&A pod down there towards the bottom of the screen. So if you have any questions, please just let us know. We'll go ahead and as well for the rest of the panel, please feel free, Walter, to add in as well anything you want to provide on any of these questions. I think one of the questions we have here as well is, do we have any international call plans and how are they implemented? And are all cultures covered under the Microsoft call plans?
Yep, I'll take that. Thank you. Great question. So we do have both domestic as well as international calling plans. Domestic, as of right now, is about $12 list price, and international is $24 list price. We also do have some smaller calling plans, for things like lobby phones, right? Phones that just aren't used that much. That, geez, if you have 50 of those throughout your organization, it's tough to justify a full, $12 a month calling plan for minutes that just go unused, right? So we've got some smaller options that are out there that are not published on the Microsoft website, but certainly you can ask your representative about that.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. And yeah, Walter, go ahead.
This is Brian. Sorry, just to add one thing to that in regards to calling plans. The calling plans are additive. So when you buy a calling plan, if it's a domestic calling plan or international calling plan, international includes domestic, and the minutes are bundled at the tenant level. So if you have 10 people, you buy 10 domestic calling plan licenses or subscriptions, you get that 3,000 times 10 users, and you get that 30,000 minutes per month bundled at the tenant. So, Kevin could use 1,000 minutes, Steve could use 3,000 minutes. So that's how the bundling actually works.
Great, thank you, Brian. Yeah, good, Brian. You finally showed up. We like looking at you, man.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay, to the panel here, the next question. What is step one when looking to replace my legacy PBX with the Microsoft Cloud PBX solution?
Sure,
Kevin, go ahead, Kevin.
Go ahead. Nope, you first, Walter. Yep.
Actually, there was one thing that Kevin mentioned in his answer. That's why I was thinking maybe it would be good for you to give your answer first, and then I was going to elaborate on one part.
Sure thing. So with you have to know where you are, before you start planning out where you want to get to, right? So we've come across environments where there might be an old Avaya PBX, and while it's under the administration of the IT department, not many people there know much about it, right? So just because it was handed to them over time, right? The former Avaya admin may have moved on to a different position or a different company or something like that. And we've also so when we get in, we first start to ask about, okay, well, tell us about your PBX, tell us about your end users, tell us about your calling plans, tell us about your usage, tell us about some of the problems that you've had in the past, maybe some outages and so forth. Tell us everything there is to know. And sometimes there's a lot of brain dumping going on, right? But other times there's not nearly as much as we need. So that's where the investigative work really comes in. So that's the first area that we start to look at. But then the next area, and I'll cue you up, Walter, with your answer there. I know where you're going.
Yep, no, it was really a lot about, believe it or not, the features and the usage, right? In terms of knowing where you are, because to your point, if you've inherited this investment, you might just only be using 20% of the capability set of what you've got in place. It's good to understand what are the capabilities you have and then go out and talk to the lines of business. Say, are you aware that this capability was available? Because then you can then translate that into the new platform, how you might be able to deliver a better experience. People may not have been using a certain modality because they were having a bad experience or it wasn't integrated enough. And then you can show them with the new Skype for Business platforms how so much of this comes, you know, so well integrated and presence throughout all your different applications. So, you know, the point of understanding where you are with your current investment and having those discussions with the business is absolutely the basis to the migration, because that's going to give you the foundation to build that business case of, you know, why the transition is good for the business, how they're going to meet the ROI, and how they're further going to enable their user population to have a better experience.
Great. Thanks, guys. Moving on to the next question, and this is an important one out there. Brian, I think you might want to tackle this one. Is the Microsoft Cloud PBX FedRAMP compliant?
Yeah, so that's probably the question that we get asked the most. So today,
Brian, did we lose you?
Yep, I think we lost audio for a moment.
All right, well, Kevin, you get to do, oh, Brian, are you back or we lose you?
Nope, I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
All right, you might want to start over again. I keep saying it's live TV. It's live TV.
Yeah. All right. So what I was saying, I guess, so you guys couldn't hear me there, is that the Cloud PBX and PSTN calling service is available in the Government Community Cloud. It's in the current process of going through the FedRAMP add-on service. So due to be available within.
That's a cliffhanger. Kevin, you want to pick up that if you have anything to add to that?
I don't know of the current time frame where we lost Brian, where he said it's due to be available going forward. Whoops, in my video, live TV here. But I'm not sure of the exact time frame. Brian, are you back with us? We lost you at the time frame on when this is going to be available.
Yeah, I'm here, guys. Sorry, my audio keeps cutting out here. It's currently in the process. So October is the start of the next FedRAMP timing. So you know, nothing to share in regards to when it's going to complete that whole process, because that's both a Microsoft and government side that we both have to complete our pieces of the process.
Okay, thank you. We have another question here. If you have Skype for Business 2015 deployed internally, can you integrate with O365 conference bridging without moving all of your users to Skype for Business in the cloud? We need the conferencing bridging piece, but we aren't ready to move the service to the cloud yet.
So I answered that in the text as well. I'm not sure if I hit send on it yet, but to answer that, today, to leverage the PSTN audio conferencing service within Skype for Business Online, the user has to be deployed inside of Skype for Business Online. That is something that we are looking at as an option, but again, today, the user and you know, that identity has to exist as a Skype for Business Online service.
Okay, and once again, we want to encourage everybody to use their Q&A prompt pod at the bottom to ask any further questions. I have one more question here, guys. Are there any existing solutions that allow Skype for Business video conferencing to interoperate with existing legacy VTC infrastructure? Of course, those VTC infrastructures are generally a significant investment for the organization and not easy to displace. So Walter, you want to jump in first on that?
Sure. You know, we have a solution, IR Prognosis, which is a day 2 monitoring solution. And while it doesn't provide direct interoperability, it does give you the ability to monitor, manage, and troubleshoot most of the disparate video systems that are out there from one solution and interface. You know, earlier we were talking about the migration scenario. We have some multi-vendor capabilities. So in a place where our solution is deployed, after you've done your initial discovery, we give you visibility to both sides of the ecosystem during the period of coexistence, while you're making the transformation. And, you know, our partners like Planet Technologies, you know, have great expertise around not only our assessor products, but also the prognosis product as well.
Great. Kevin, Brian, Justin, you have anything you want to add to that?
Yep. So there's also when we talk about VTC integration, there's Polycom has a great solution, as well as PEXIP, that really makes integration quite seamless to the end user. I mean, we at Microsoft, we certainly understand that hey, you want to implement a Skype for Business environment. You want that full collaborative capability, right? But you may have also just last year spent millions in some cases on an existing VTC infrastructure. And we've got many ways, including working with different partners on how to enable that, how to reuse that, and to make it seamless. That's the most important thing to the end user environment.
Yeah, and if I just add a couple of things there in regards to video interoperability, it's probably, you know, from a unified intelligent communications platform subjects. So from the perspective of the Office 365 infrastructure, in the commercial space, we currently have our video interop service available, and that is based on the Polycom. And then Kevin mentioned PEXIP. PEXIP is an on-prem solution, or a solution that could also be deployed within the Azure environment. Specific to the government community cloud, we will be, or we are working to have the video interop service available in GCC as well.
Thank you, Brian. So it looks like we've come to the end of the questions, unless somebody has something they want to ask real quick with our distinguished panel. So gentlemen, thank you so much for your participation in this. It was a great discussion. Really appreciate your investment in your time. Thanks for sharing. We're going to be on break until 12:30. The next session is generating long-term value through continuous learning. You guys will really want to attend this, because none of this great technology matters if our end users can't adopt it and continuously adopt it. On your screen right now is the contact information, and in some cases blog and LinkedIn information for our various experts on the panel. Please feel free to reach out to them with any further questions that you have. Please be sure to join us again at 12:30 this afternoon as we start up our next panel on the value of continuous learning and user adoption.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.